Hey everybody, welcome to the weekly superinterns.com show on Blab. We're doing something magical here today because, as you can see, we're streaming in from Google Hangouts on air because Blab, as it is giving challenges to some of us who are trying to log in into Blab. So based on my experience with Google Hangouts on air, so I'm patching in the show co-hosts and other guests through the hangout, and you're watching live, right? So go ahead, we're still live right here on Blab and also on Google Hangouts on air. You can still send us questions in live chat right there on the right side. All right, so welcome everybody. Just wanted to say it's a tremendous honor to be asked to host the superinterns.com show here on Blab. I owe Super Julie a lot because she has done that for me before. So I'm Zeph Zam, just filling in for Super Julie Ron, who's away. And I just want to say welcome again to the show. I'm Zeph Zen, the Chief Flight Officer at Entrepreneurs That Soar. And today's show is all about how this busy entrepreneur gets it all done. If you're an entrepreneur or a potential entrepreneur, you're probably thinking the same questions, right? If you're a business owner, we all have this question. How does she or he get it all done, right? One way, it's about using virtual interns or building your virtual intern team. And here at superinterns.com, this is how employers, who are looking for interns help get to work with great talents across the board around the world. When working virtually, you can work with anybody in the world, right? So today, I just want to also welcome my co-host for the show, Kenneth Miles, who is the principal of the Miles Group. Hey, Kenneth, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I am doing great. Don't you just love the gremlins, right? It happens, but we all roll with the punches, right? And you're lucky to have me today because I was still able to patch you in. Yay!
They're not problems, they're opportunities.
Yes, we always find the solutions, right, Kenneth?
That's correct.
Okay, great. So maybe Kenny, you can give us a little bit of an introduction of who you are and what you do, just to give a preview to our audience and let them get to know you a little bit more.
Sure, absolutely. So, excuse me again. My name is Kenneth Miles. I am the principal of the Miles Group. The Miles Group is a lean consultancy. It's we basically work with companies to improve top line and bottom line growth through waste elimination. So we understand how the organization is impacted by quality on the sales side, on the income side, and on the cost side.
Okay.
Basically, what we do is help companies realize profitability through top line and bottom line growth through waste reduction, improved market position, so on and so forth, customer satisfaction. So that's what we do, and we base our strategies and methodologies on the Toyota production system. And that comes from my experience of working in the automotive industry for about 15 years. I started my career in healthcare manufacturing with Dow Corning Corporation, and I worked in consumer products with Procter & Gamble and the Gillette Company. So I'm a mechanical engineer by education, and I studied at Michigan State University, go Spartans.
Wow. All that years of experience, right? And now a lot of those experience you get to share in the show. And I love that you get to share that with us today. And thank you for being here on the show. And I think I would love to kick off the show, Kenny, with the topic of managing time, because we all know, right? We busy entrepreneurs, that's a challenge, right? How does one team or one business owner manage time? And the big idea with entrepreneurs is, if you're a solopreneur especially, you only have two hands or two legs, right? And you're supposed to do so many things. So for you, what have you done to manage your time?
First of all, what I've done is created a value equation for my time. So everyone says time is money, but that sounds so cliche. But time is more than money.
Yes.
Time is an invaluable asset that an entrepreneur must manage well and beyond the value of money.
Yep.
So what I've done is created a system for myself where I plan my day, I plan my week, I plan my month to the best of my ability.
Mm-hmm.
And I manage, and I'm very regimented and disciplined to my schedule, how I manage my time. Within my day, I plan out little things such as getting my workout in, what time I'm going to eat lunch, because my time is predicated on my customers' needs that I am serving, and my work, the background work, the follow-up work to all those needs that my customers have. So that's how I plan my time. And one thing that I use as a key tool is Stephen Covey's
planner.
His planner, the 4 quadrants. Absolutely.
It's so funny that you brought that up, Kenny, because right before right before today, this show, I had my own show also, and we talked about the Franklin Cover planner. It's so funny that it actually, you're bringing this up again. It's it's a great tool to have. And I think for many of us busy entrepreneurs, right, that's a great thing, because what you just mentioned there is having a system to manage our time, right? And unfortunately, not many of us have the luxury of understanding how to manage our time, number one. Number two, using a tool or utilizing a tool that would help us manage that time. So would you just kind of share a little bit of your experience working with the Franklin Covey planner? Just give an idea to our audience how you use it on a day-to-day basis.
Sure. So for those who are not familiar, I'll give just little brief synopsis of what the 4 quadrants are. So on the x-axis, you have urgent and non-urgent issues. Mm-hmm. On the y-axis, you have not important and important issues.
Right.
So quadrant 1 is firefighting, basically. It's crises, things that don't contribute to the bottom line, bad execution on others' parts or on your part. Trying to meet deadlines and, deadline-driven projects and things like that. So quadrant 1 is strictly firefighting. There's no productivity. Yeah. You're in the crucible. There's no value added. There's no benefit to it whatsoever. You are just managing crisis in quadrant 1. In quadrant 2, that's your quality quadrant. That's quality time. And what I mean by quality time, I don't mean spending time with your family and things of that nature. What I mean by quality time is you're adding value to your business. Or if you're in school, you're adding value to your matriculation, your studies. So quality time consists of prevention, improvement, building, recognizing new opportunities. So that's growing your business. That's cultivating innovation.
Right.
Planning. And then for your personals, recreation, your opportunity to detox. If you like to run, go for a jog. If you like to go to the gym with weights, whatever you like to do, if you're a Facebook browser, that's your time to do that. Right.
You got to have a time for that, right?
You got to make time for that, because if you don't make time for that, what will happen is you will create time for that in one of the other quadrants. And now you're creating a dichotomy between what's productive and what's not productive, because now you're operating on a different quadrant.
You're not. Sorry.
That's okay. Uh-oh, I lost you.
I'm here. Oh. Can you hear me? Okay, great. I had to patch in because I want to make sure that I'm also on camera with you. So one of the things I think what you just brought up there, right, is there's so many things. What I see is we all have all these many things going on. It's just like, oh my God, it's all going on. But if we just don't, mind map what we need to do in order, right, and have a system to help us do that. And I think that's where many of us will quickly fail. And that's when I think we are actually using more time than we are, already doing. Have a system is very important, and one of the things that I shared with on my show today, Kenny, was the fact that having a system could be as simple as using a calendar, right? Because a calendar is a tool to help you navigate and have a vision. I have a visual as what are the things that you need to get accomplished in different days, different time. And I think having a system is important for us to prioritize. Very, very important. As entrepreneurs, we probably have 3,000 things going on at the same time, especially if we're working with teams. It's almost impossible to track everything. Therefore, we must have a system. Other than the Franklin Covey planner, what are some of the other systems that have been helping you manage your time? That's a great tool, but what would you recommend to people who say, oh my God, I'm not a planner kind of person, this is too much work for me? Any simple tips for them?
Absolutely. So you have to understand, your individual has to understand their personal strengths and weaknesses. If you are IT strong, if you are a device or technology strong person, then use that platform to your advantage. If that is not something that you value or something that you're strong in, don't be afraid to go and write it down. I carry a moleskin memo book with me everywhere I go to jot down notes, because they come and they go.
Mm-hmm.
As they come, I write them down, and at the end of the day, I'll synthesize all the information I have, and I put it in a digestible form, and then I can manage it. Don't be afraid to get an old desktop plotter, calendar. If that works for you, use it.
Or even this, right? Pen and paper.
There you go. There you go. The old school pen, that still works. And if your hard drive dies, that doesn't go away.
And I think understanding that these are tools that can help us is also important, because I think some people cannot recognize that because they think, oh my God, just another thing. But you know what, folks, if you're watching this, if you're an entrepreneur and you want to get it all done, like all done, right, you have to have a system. And it could be as simple as just your system is writing it, take pen to paper, make a list, scratch it, number them based on the most important task that needs to get done, right? I think people think that they can store everything in their head, not thinking about doing a data dump on pen and paper.
That is correct. I agree.
Yep.
Pen and paper is still the most powerful.
Absolutely, and absolutely. And there's so many things that everybody can do. Other than that, what do you have any life hacks that you can probably share? For some of you folks who are watching, you're probably like, what in the world is a life hack? So usually a life hack is a strategy or technique adopted in order to manage one's time and daily activities, so that you can become more efficient way. Other than using a planner, you can use, you can also do life hacks like, okay, I will only do my emails at a certain hour of the day. Do you do anything like that, Kenny?
I absolutely do. I dedicate specific, like I said earlier in the show, I dedicate time to perform certain tasks.
Yes.
So
very important.
Very important. So first 2 hours, I'll check email. If I have some excess time left over after that, I'll dedicate it to the next task, or so on and so forth. Managing my calendar, talking with my CPA, talking with my attorney, making sure I touch bases with my customers. Things of that nature, and then planning the next week. So I schedule my day in such a way.
According to priority. Yep.
Priority. I also use a filing system that is color coded.
I love that old school filing system, color code.
I do. And what I learned, and I'm not a millennial, obviously, but I'm guilty of this as well. But millennials, I think, because I have 2 millennial sons, 20.
Don't they teach you a lot of stuff?
Well, they teach me a lot of stuff in a good way and a bad way.
Yeah.
So
it can go either way.
Yeah, I tell them all the time. I say, you guys use smartphones for dumb things. So, use the tools that you have at your your disposal,
Yes.
and to empower your greatness. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, but I still write things down. I still file by color code. I'll even use.
I love that you have all your props in for the show right now, right there. I love
Color
post-it pads, people. Post-it pads, right?
Absolutely.
Love that.
But I'm a purist at heart,
Yes.
so life hacks. It really has to be value added for me to use it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a purist. I'm an engineer by education, so I'm
Yep.
very regimented in my my thinking and my behaviors. But at the same time, to be an entrepreneur, I had to step out of that box a little bit.
I agree.
Yeah. So.
Absolutely.
What life hacks do you use?
For me, this is something simple, and I think in this day and age, I think it's very crucial because it's got a lot to do with people asking you for your time.
Yeah.
And what I use is an automated tool. It's called a booking calendar, which is automated. What I mean by automation is this, folks, right, Kenny? Because how many times have you had experience like this, right? Or experiences like this? Hey, Kenny, can I meet you? Or can I have a coffee chat with you? Let's meet somewhere. And then you go through 5, 10, 15 emails maybe to just get a time down, right?
Sure.
And I'm like, listen, hello. Why can't we have some sort of a tool where we send people, oh, by the way, this is where you can book my time. Pick your own time because you know when you're free. I don't know when you're free. You pick your time. Well, my automated calendar will confirm it. And that's what I have been using a lot. And for some people, I don't know if you've had experience using such tools, Kenny, but not many people like it just because they have to go through I'm like, okay, folks, but you want to meet with me, right? I cannot possibly make myself available to everybody, but this is my process, and to a certain extent, I hope at least, that I'm also sharing this idea to other people that you can use such tools, or such tools are available to help us, hack our time and, calendars.
Sure.
Have you had that experience? Do you use any kind of tools like that?
I have not in my entrepreneurial life, but in my life, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because everyone's needs are urgent.
Mm-hmm.
So having access to a platform where you can have an automated booking calendar, where you can see what's available and what's not for someone, then you can get an idea for what how your need is going to be addressed, how you're going to be serviced if you're a customer.
Correct.
Because sometimes, an excess of into a calendar can scare some customers away, right?
Agree.
Time for me.
At the end of the day, you have to still have a human side of things, right?
Absolutely. You have to maintain that human touch.
Yeah.
So, but I like that idea. But in a large organization, some of the companies I've worked for, that's been a core tool to help people manage their priorities, if you will.
I'm glad that you brought that up that point, Kenny, because is giving me this opportunity to say this, right? Because I'm a marketing person. I'm also a system and process gal, Kenny. It really has helped me to manage my time. Having a system, using the right tools, right, has helped me to really create a system that has made me more effective in managing my time and how I can get a lot of work done in a very short period of time. Sure. So from a marketing perspective and a management perspective, that tool, like you said, that tool can work for or against you. However, if I'm looking at the better side of things, the better angle of things is if I use a booking calendar, like I said, I still want to put the Zeph element into the process, right? Yes. What would it sound like? What would it feel like? So part of the automation, I took the time to script out a autoresponder message that sounds like me, that feels like me, right? And it doesn't feel scripted. So it sounds something like this. Hey, Kenny, thank you so much for booking the time. I'm so glad that we're catching up. And I thank you for taking the time to use my tool to help you save some time. Because it's all about the psychology, right? If you're watching this, some entrepreneurs are probably like, I don't like to use that because I want to be very, high touch with my customer. But at the end of the day, if you spread yourself too thin, then you don't get many things done. So I'm glad that you brought that up because it can work pro or against you, right? But we have to just be practical and understand there are certain things that we can do to make things or the process better or more humanized. Right, Kenny? And I think that's important.
So I made a note of that. I'm going to take a look at that for myself, as a matter of fact. That's an excellent suggestion. Thank you.
Yes, and you're welcome. And I'm going to, for any one of you in the Super Interns team, I'm going to give some sort of a tool. And in fact, Kenny, you can check this out. It's a free tool. And I know Team Super Interns, I know Super Julie Braun teaches a team to use some sort of a calendar too. It's called youcanbook.me. There's a couple of them. That's a free one. Calendly, which is calendly.com, is another one. It's a free tool. So depending on where you are and how you want to upgrade or not upgrade. But for me, You Can Book Me has been very robust, very, very spot on, made me more, given me an opportunity to be more efficient, and also Schedule Ones. When I started out, Kenny, I started with ScheduleOnes.com, and then they recently updated to only paid version. But if you want to try out the You Can Book Me, youcanbook.me is a great tool. Start there.
Excellent.
Yeah, yeah. And I love, and Laura, thank you for even saying this. Laura, who's in our Blab live chat, there says, use the tools you have at your access to empower greatness. Absolutely. And also at your own personality even when automating. Yeah, for some of you entrepreneurs out there or whoever's watching, anything in automation, be sure to incorporate your personality because you want to be a little bit more human. That's how people attract to our brand or who we are, right? And then continue to build on that relationship. And I think that's very, very important. And for some of you who are in the live chat, just a quick recap. Thank you for watching and tuning in to today's show, How This Busy Entrepreneur Gets It All Done. And I'm here with my co-host and guest, Kenneth Miles, who is the principal of Miles Enterprises, is it? I have to look at my notes.
The Miles Group.
The Miles Group. I apologize, but I have multiple screens on my computer, so I'm looking for the information. But I just want to say the conversation today has been great because so far we've talked about how do the entrepreneurs get things done. Number one was, managing their times with certain tools, and the most important things is using a system that works for you, right? And an example that I gave earlier was using a virtual booking calendar. Kenny, let me ask you this. As far as managing time, how do you manage time with your employees or your partners or your people that you work with, your clients? Is there any specific process or system that you use to kind of just manage your time with your team, which is very important, I think?
Yeah, sure. So to do that, what I like to do is lean in on standardization. What I mean by that is I like to have an established meeting date and time, week in, week out, month in, month out, day in, day out, with those individuals based on business need. Okay? And what I find is that strategy makes us a lot more efficient.
Yes.
Because then we don't have to wrap our minds around, okay, when do we meet next? Let's collaborate calendars. We know at Tuesday at 2 o'clock this is happening. And nothing else takes priority over there. So now, of course, life gets in the way and things happen.
Doesn't it always?
Absolutely. But however, we try to maintain that stringency in managing that calendar. And what it does, it reduces the stress and makes us much more efficient and focused in our meetings. It drives focus to the conversations and to the work, and we get more out of the experience, and we can turn 30 minutes, and we can do more in 30 minutes than some folks can do in 3 hours.
Absolutely, and that's true. That we can't say more. I mean, any more about that, because it is that powerful,
Yeah.
and we just have to pay attention and respect it, because without that, I think we won't be able to grow and be effective. What other life hacks, other than we talked about the calendars? What are the life hacks that probably has helped you save some time and manage your time better?
Sure. Well, I am a multitasker by nature. So
Is that such a thing? People will be asking, is that such a thing, Kenny?
I have a built-in multiprocessor. So,
I feel like that sometimes too. Trust me. Yeah.
Yeah. So, things such as I talked about color-coded filing system, labeling. One thing I make sure I do, and I wouldn't consider it a life hack as much as I would consider it a technology advantage, is making sure that all the devices that I lean in on to manage my day are connected and synchronized with one another.
Yeah.
So that they all have the same information, and I have access to everything I need at my fingertips at any given moment. So, so I have a laptop, I have a desktop, I have an iPhone. I make sure all three of those, regardless of what device I'm using, they all have the same information at any given moment in time, such that I don't have to search and feel and find what I'm looking for. It's right there, and I can trust that it's going to be available.
Thank you so much for saying that. And this is what I've been saying all the time, everybody, is the fact that everything that we do in this digital age, you have to somehow kind of take, if you're this kind of person, right, pen and paper, you might need to also digitize some of this information, because sometimes you lose the paper, somebody used your paper, I don't know, it just could just go away, right? A great example for what you just talked about, so the term I would use is probably sync all your information, so that if you lose your computer, if you lose your phone, there's always a way to get to them, right? And one of the things I think for us, people who are brand new to the, what should you call, am I having a, is it broadcasting? Okay. For some reason, I felt like there was a disconnection or interruption on my end. But what I was saying is the fact that sync all the information, and also maybe you want to consider a cloud-based tool like maybe Dropbox or Evernote, or use I use Podio, which is a project collaboration tool. So it's my HQ, my virtual HQ. So I go to that place and get all my information. And I think many entrepreneurs, you can weigh in on this, because I remember earlier on in the show you mentioned that you're kind of old school, but you're also using all this digital tools. But I think in this day and age, when we have all these tools, it can be overwhelming for us, right? But we have to recognize that there is a need for this type of cloud-based synchronization, because without it, right? Here's an example at superinterns.com. We work with virtual teams all over the world. Can you imagine if we did pen and paper, or download and upload a Word document or an Excel sheet? Oh, you make the changes and then save it and then upload it to an email. And I cannot, for in my world right now, imagine, I might sound too much, guys, but that's the truth. This is how we roll these days. There are still teams that, write in a Word document and edit, save. I'm not saying it's wrong. No, maybe that works for you, but my time is so precious. I've had to find a system that works for me, meaning I don't have to make edit, save, download the file, upload the file through an email, and the other person edit and do the same thing. When we can use tools like Google Drive, right? And you can add it in real time. You can download it. It just makes it more efficient. That would be my other life hack tip for everybody who's watching today. use some sort of a Google-based tool. I mean, it's free, or any kind of cloud-based tool to
Mhm.
help you sync your information, so that if your computer drops down in the drain, or I'm sorry, your phone drops in the drain, or somebody stole your computer, you will always have access to them.
That's right.
Boom. Yeah.
There's
It's,
a couple of other life hacks too.
mhm.
E-faxing is a great life hack. So faxing from a device, because sometimes you have to have a physical signature.
Correct.
So interns, these things are, I know that sometimes, we have squares and we can swipe and all that good stuff. You can sign with your finger on your device. Sometimes, especially in spaces where there are legalities associated with the execution of an action, you have to still have paper and pen to paper rather. So
Right.
faxing is great. Virtual printing is great if you need to do something like that, because you
Right.
can document to someone immediately from your phone. If they
Right.
give you an email address that you can fax to or
Right.
print virtually.
Right.
So those
Exactly.
are also things that I use. And I can get document turnaround much more efficient that way.
Correct.
And if I need something notarized, by the time I get back to the office, I've got the document, it's there, boom, done, I'm gone.
Yay! I love that tip. I love that tip. So that's exactly what we're saying. And I think a big part of the conversation for many entrepreneurs, you and I know this, right? There's this transition from the old school to the new school, right? But there's also this, like, oh my God, this resistance. But you know what, folks? And I just recently heard on a TED Talk recently that said businesses that can adapt better or faster are the businesses that will be around for a longer time. Because if you cannot adapt to the way how businesses are done in the century that you live in, or at least in this time today, then you will be playing catch up forever. I'm not saying that pen and paper is not good. And paper is a great place to start to manage your time. But eventually, when you become an octopus, you have the marketing department, you have the HR department, you have the people who produce your shows, right? You have to manage that all, and you have to find a way to manage your time efficiently. So there are tools and there are life hacks out there that are made available to us, and most of them, right, Kenny, are actually freemiums that you don't have to pay. You just need to know how to use them and be open enough to want to use them.
Absolutely. Freemiums. I like that.
Boom! There you go. My dong goes there. So I just want to kind of ask our audience who are in the live chat if you have any. Okay, Laura has a question here. Laura's asking. Thank you for asking, Laura. I was just about to say it. Does anybody have a question? So Laura in the live chat is saying, what about learning to delegate and allow others to do things so you are not responsible for everything? Here, I'm going to give you a dong. You're so right, Laura. People don't delegate very well, and they don't know how to, because sometimes I think, Kenny, you can weigh in on this, but I think people feel like they're so over controlling that they don't feel like they can delegate just because the other person may not do it as well as they do. Can you weigh in on that a little bit, Kenny?
True leaders delegate.
Boom! Love that.
It is just the opposite of conventional thinking. People who are not strong leaders are afraid to delegate because they are not trusting of those who are supporting providing the support that leader needs. So
Right.
true leaders delegate and they
Love
trust
that.
in power, and in turn that builds up the confidence and the productivity and efficiency of the people that they are delegating. It's a win-win situation when you delegate.
I love that you mentioned that, and I think that's where entrepreneurs or anybody, right? You know, you have to learn. We have to learn how to do that, because one of the biggest things that I also want to share is when I started. You know, I worked with Super Julie Braun early on when I started my own virtual internship program, Kenny. So I was kind of, you know, open to the thought of oh, I can have somebody else do this. Yay! I don't have to do it by myself. Yeah, it was a learning process, but once, excuse me, recovering from a bad sinus infection, but learning to do that wasn't always easy, but I just had to believe that it can be done because it has been done, right, for ages. And I
Absolutely.
think we need, like you just said, true leaders always delegate because we will learn to leverage the power of the team that we've built around us, and it's very important.
Well, with the need to be very agile
Hmm.
in today's place of business, not to have a strong team that you can delegate to is the kiss of death. Most other businesses have floundered because of that very fact alone. You have
Right.
very top-down organizations, and everyone's kind of waiting in the wings and queue to get their next assignment.
Hmm.
And you have organizations that are used to being delegated to, and they're waiting and ready and prepared and trained to do that work. When you need that particular piece of information or that presentation or that analysis done, it's already there for you because it's already taken care of because the organization is used to being delegated to, and everybody views themselves as leaders.
Yes, I so agree. And I'm just reading this statement that Laura in the live chat is saying, and I so agree. She says, or maybe somebody else in the team can even do a better job, but not the same way as you do it because maybe we never thought of it, right? Maybe somebody else thinks of a better process or system, and suddenly, boom, we have a great growth. And I think this is where many of us need to learn, us entrepreneurs or business owners just need to learn to delegate because you never know through delegation what we can really accomplish and get out or benefit from. Um, Here's another question, and the question, Kenny, is: do either of you have advice on how to make time to stay in touch with and maintain a positive company culture? Do you want to go ahead and start with that?
Sure, absolutely. So one way of doing that is, the traditional morning meeting or weekly team meetings, those things, they become very stale and very stagnant because they're very predictable.
Yeah,
Those little ecosystems get stale real quick.
very true.
So what you have to do is be creative. Have a team luncheon off site. Do team building exercises. Have a meeting. Get a private room at Dave and Buster's where you guys have lunch, for 2 hours and have a meeting. You go out and play games and do things like that. You have to be very creative and tap into each individual's on the team's interests, not just your own.
Mm.
Tap into what everybody's interests are. Find out what kind of family situation they have. What do they do with their family? Do they go fishing? Do they like to paint? Whatever it is, go. Take your team. To a
Take the time. Yep.
whatever the little painting.
The paint with wine kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Things like that, because what it does, it promotes a environment where folks can let their guard down and give their true self to bring their whole self to the experience, if you will.
Right. Absolutely.
So those are some of the things that I used to do with my teams, and I got and sometimes what you'll get out of that is some friendships.
Yes.
But what you're looking for is a melding of synergies between all the team members, such that you get the most and clear understanding of what the goals and objectives are, and you're meeting those goals, meeting and or exceeding those goals and objectives of the organization.
For me, I just want to share with the company, with my company, what I've done. What I've done really, because I have a virtual business, right? One of the things that I've used for my virtual team, this is very key, and I'm sure Super Julie Braun can attest to this. What I found is because I have a virtual team, and sometimes they don't work in groups. And what I've done, because I use videos, live videos like this, to connect everybody. And I'm like, once in a while, I like to get the team together and say, let's make a team meeting and just say, hey, just no business talk today, no work talk today. And I'll go into like, what do you like? What does traveling for you sound like? And go into the human side of things, because I think that would be a great example of a company culture, because it allows my team member to see that I've taken the time, just like what you said, Kenny, to care about them, right? Because I think, especially in big businesses, it's hard to have that feeling of, do they care about me or do they care about me? Or if somebody has a birthday during the call, I'm like, let's just sing happy birthday together. I know I'm embarrassing you, but heck, just have a good time, right?
Sure,
and I think companies, I think the companies in this modern day and age need to be thinking more about the human aspects of their team members, right? Their talents, because I think part of keeping the human side of things of business is what's going to help us sustain our team members better. Do you agree, Kenny?
I agree 150%. So as we evolved into this world of automation over the last 50 years, what we've done to some degree is reprioritize what's the greatest asset in an organization.
Right.
The asset in any organization, even in current day, is people. People are still the greatest asset of any organization.
Correct.
So once a culture shifts from that mindset, that's where it's not as productive as it could be. So
Yes.
we're still the most valuable asset. I don't care how many computers you have,
Yes.
robots, driverless cars, whatever it is, the technology that's out there, people are still the most valuable asset.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have to think about all the aspects. So, folks, we've been talking about how this busy entrepreneur gets it all done in today's show. But you know what? There's so many things that we talked about. We talked about managing our time. We talked about, life hacks, using a system to manage our time better. And we also talked recently, last point right here, was we talked about having a great team and what you can do for your team, having that culture, because we were answering one of the questions that asked about having a great company culture. And I think at the end of the day, it's always about how can we sustain the best talents in our team. So, folks, we're at the end of our time, but I just want to say thank you all who are here with us today, especially to Kenny, who's here, Kenneth Miles, who's here today with me as my co-host and guest on the show. And as for some of you, are probably wondering, she's not Super Julie Braun. Yeah, I'm not Super Julie Braun, but I'm Zaf Zan, Chief Flight Officer at entrepreneurs@soar.com, and I basically am filling in for Super Julie. And I just want to say thank you all for being here, for tuning in. Yeah, we've had some challenges with technology. We had gremlins in our computer today, but Super Julie's lucky, and Team Super Intens, you're lucky because you got me today, and I know how to do this. Patch in the show. See, I'm a troubleshooter, by nature, so I'm glad I was able to do this for you folks out there, and we've had a great conversation. So for some of you who are still in Blab, you're still watching this live, and if you want more information about superintens.com, I know the Team Super Interns will drop in the link in the live chat. And before we go, Kenny, would you just kind of share your information, how our viewers can get in touch with you?
Sure. So my contact information is, my email address is kmyles@earthlink.net, and that is the most efficient way to get in touch with me.
So it's kmiles@earthlink.net.
That is
I remember this. Yay!
And thank you so much for your insight and sharing. Zeph, we really appreciate it, and your tenacity in making this happen. And perseverance wins again.
I've been told that many times, so I'm glad I could use an experience to make this happen today.
Absolutely.
And people say nothing happens out of coincidence, and I'm sure that's the reason why we were tested today. And I know I'll be in touch with you, and I'll see you around. It's been a pleasure to have you as my co-host here at superinterns.com show today. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you, Team Super Interns. Thank you to all of you who are still in the Blab live chat watching and tuning in to the Super Interns weekly show right here on Blab, but today we're patching in from Hangouts on Air. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week, same time, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on the next superinterns.com show. Bye, everybody. Bye, Kenny. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Till next
Bye.
time.
See you, everybody. Good night.
Bye-bye.